Why is his blood inside your house? Okay, is that because that you've assaulted him, killed him, and disposed of the evidence but left him behind?
This photo captures the last known moments of 55-year-old Edward Forster, also known as Eddie. He was simply walking his beloved dog near his home in Blackpool at 1:01 p.m. on September 1st, 2023. Shortly after this snapshot, Eddie vanished. There were traces that the perpetrator tried to erase, attempting to hide and escape justice. We now know what happened to Eddie. His end was shocking and brutal, but after his murder, even more terrifying events unfolded. Edward Forster, known to his friends as Eddie, was the kind of person you instantly liked, friendly, yet reserved. Eddie was described as somewhat vulnerable, having suffered a brain injury in the 90s, leaving him with mild learning difficulties. He relied on various medications to manage his condition. Eddie also faced mobility challenges, using a walking stick, and struggled with reading and writing. Despite these obstacles, his life was bright. Originally from Morecambe, he moved to Blackpool decades ago, where he met his close friend Trevor Lake, who helped him with tasks he found difficult, like filling out forms and cooking. Lake was often by his side, but Eddie also had his beloved dog, Cassie, whom he walked at least twice a day. Eddie loved animals, not only keeping his dog but also fish in his apartment. He enjoyed shopping, meeting friends, having lunch with them, and socializing whenever he could. His family described him as a quiet and peaceful person. He couldn't hurt anyone. Eddie lived a simple but meaningful life on the second floor of a house converted into 2 flats. In the flat below lived a 65-year-old man named William Wilkinson. The two never got along. Wilkinson had acted violently towards Eddie in the past, causing bruises on one occasion, and frequently complained about Eddie to neighbors across the street. He even once boasted that he could get rid of him if he wanted to. I'm not sure where the conflict between the two began, but I know there was a recent issue between them that escalated over something easily resolved. Wilkinson was leaving food out for the birds, but Eddie complained, saying it attracted mice and rats to the property. Eddie filed a formal complaint with the council about this, and the atmosphere in the building became more tense, setting the stage for something much worse. On August 2023, Trevor Lake received a text message from Eddie confirming their usual plans for lunch the next day, Friday, September 1st, a routine he never missed. But when Eddie didn't show up the next day, Trevor immediately knew something was wrong. Not only did Eddie not arrive, but he also didn't answer his phone. Worried about his friend, Trevor quickly went to Eddie's flat, fearing he might have had an accident and needed help. But what he found was much more disturbing. There was no sign of Eddie, and his dog, Cassie, was still in the flat, clearly distressed and hungry, indicating she had been left alone for a long time. Unsure what to do, Trevor went downstairs and knocked on Wilkinson's door, asking if he had seen Eddie. Wilkinson claimed he hadn't heard or seen Eddie at all. Growing increasingly worried, Trevor visited the local hospital hoping to find Eddie there. But there was no trace of him. With each passing minute, the anxiety grew, and Trevor finally decided to file a missing person report, setting off a chain of events that would soon reveal the dark and disturbing truth. On September 3rd, the police launched a missing person search at the residence where both Eddie and Wilkinson lived. They noticed blood around the doorframe of Wilkinson's flat and on the walls and floor of the shared hallway. Officers realized Eddie had likely been harmed, and the search quickly turned into a murder investigation. Officers entered Wilkinson's flat the same day, and the first thing they noticed was the strong smell of cleaning products. They also noticed fresh paint on the walls and baseboards, but soon discovered it was to conceal bloodstains. They found bloodstains in the kitchen, along with a puddle of water on the floor. Additionally, they found what they suspected was the murder weapon, a broken wooden stick with a heavy object at the end, hidden inside a carrier bag. Wilkinson was now the prime suspect, but he had vanished. Officers quickly gathered as much CCTV footage from the area as possible to try and trace his movements. On September 1st, cameras captured Wilkinson carrying several large plastic bags, which he loaded into the trunk of his car. The contents of the bags appeared bulky. While investigators were tracking Wilkinson, forensic analysis of the flat revealed the horrifying truth about Eddie's fate. Bloodstain patterns showed a grim scene. Eddie was sitting on the floor when Wilkinson repeatedly attacked him with a metal-tipped stick. The brutality was shocking, and bloodstains on the wall showed Eddie had received at least 10 horrific blows to the head. But the attack didn't stop there. Eddie's body was then dragged into the kitchen where Wilkinson dismembered it. Officers now feared the contents of the plastic bags Wilkinson was carrying were more than just belongings. They likely contained Eddie's dismembered remains, disposed of in a cold and calculated manner. Wilkinson was seen on CCTV on September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, driving around Blackpool, disposing of these gruesome bags in various public trash cans. By the time police discovered Eddie had been murdered, it was too late. The bins had been emptied, making it impossible to recover the remains from the bins or landfill sites. During this time, Wilkinson seemed to be trying to live a normal life, perhaps as a way to distance himself from the horror he had committed. He was seen on CCTV entering shops and visiting a pawn shop where he sold his gold ring for $120. He then stopped at a barbershop for a haircut, styling, coloring, and a shave. It was clear he was preparing to flee, changing his appearance and disappearing. Wilkinson's van, already equipped with a bed, seemed like the perfect hiding place, allowing him to stay mobile and avoid capture. But before hiding, Wilkinson made another visit, captured on camera, where he bought bleach, air fresheners, and heating pads from a large store. He likely bought the heating pads to relieve back pain from dismembering Eddie's body, while the cleaning products were to try and remove evidence from the flat. It is now believed that when Trevor knocked on Wilkinson's door, asking if he had seen Eddie, Wilkinson was not only at home, but in the midst of cleaning up the aftermath of his horrific crime. Police realized they needed to act quickly. Wilkinson was on the move, and if he wasn't caught soon, he might disappear or worse, attack someone else. Police used CCTV footage, number plate tracking, and phone analysis to locate Wilkinson. September 5th, in Cumbria, he was found sleeping in his van at Kirkstone Foot Car Park. He was arrested and taken into custody. During questioning, Wilkinson completely denied any knowledge of the crime. He said he had no idea where Eddie was or if he had been harmed. He also claimed that the medication he was taking affected his memory. He said he was on a short holiday and that his departure had nothing to do with Eddie's disappearance. Over the following days, September 6th, 7th, and 8th, police intensified their questioning. Police presented Wilkinson with CCTV footage showing him disposing of bags in public trash cans and questioned him about the blood found in his flat. They confronted him with evidence showing his attempts to clean the crime scene and erase the traces. Throughout the investigation, Wilkinson remained silent. At the end of the interrogation, Wilkinson was charged with murder. As he was being taken back to his cell, he uttered a cold and chilling comment to the officer saying, "Sir, good luck." Wilkinson knew that without a body, it would be difficult to convict him of murder in court. Over the following days and weeks, police began piecing together the details of Wilkinson's so-called holiday to Cumbria. It was during this horrifying journey that parts of Eddie's body were discovered, scattered in various locations in the area. Wilkinson was first spotted entering Breeder Road Edge Quarry, where he stayed for only 7 minutes. There, he threw a garbage bag into some bushes before leaving. The bag, containing Eddie's severed head, was later found. Wilkinson then continued his journey to the town of Kendal, where he was seen throwing another bag into the River Kent. After leaving Kendal, Wilkinson headed to a nearby village called Staveley. Phone records showed he spent the night in Ings, where police later discovered most, but not all, of Eddie's leg parts, stuffed inside 3 garbage bags just yards away near a dry stone wall. Wilkinson had discarded Eddie's arms, wrapped in multiple bags, some fingers removed but still inside the bag. Finally, the most horrific discovery at this location was when officers found part of Eddie's mutilated torso buried inside a suitcase just 10 feet from the road. The next morning, Wilkinson headed towards Windermere, this time carrying the largest bundle yet. On the A591 road, a driver spotted Wilkinson carrying a suitcase, which officers later found partially buried, containing the other part of Eddie's mutilated and dismembered torso. Wilkinson then stopped at a service station to change his clothes and used his phone to search for boat rentals. No one knows